What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Robeytech. And you know what? It's funny. I just want to kick it off by saying, first and foremost, welcome. Sorry that there was no stream on Saturday. But when I was thinking about this case, so this is an interesting case because this is the Antec Performance P1 Silent. And it's from the same one as the P Performance 1 T, but this one actually, as you can see, has no tempered glass. There's like nothing that is displayed on this. It's all about performance and silence and all that sort of stuff. So when I was officially going to do this, I was going to put like a $3,000 build in it, and I was like, you know what? It's not the right kind of build. And I was like, you know what? Maybe what we need to do, and we haven't done in a long time, is literally take a build from beginning to end. So you guys are we're just gonna do it from beginning to end. And the other thing too is that you can cost this build down. So right now it's $2,500. It's using an Nvidia RTX 4080 Super. If you wanted to drop it down to something less expensive, you can go to a 7800 XT or a 7900 XTX or a 7900 XT or 4070 Ti, etc. So what this is really gonna do is we're gonna start at the beginning. We're going to literally take all the parts out, breadboard it, get it BIOS ready, put an OS on it, all that sort of stuff outside, so we'll make sure it all works. And then what we're gonna do is we're then going to put it inside the case, and you are gonna get a complete step-by-step from beginning to end of the entire build, all the way down to thermals and everything else. So I also simplified. I decided I'm gonna do air cooler. We're literally just it's going to be a very, very simple build. So if you were thinking of a great first build that you could curate down either by dropping the CPU down or dropping the GPU down, you can make this as inexpensive as $1,500, $1,600, and still have an incredible system, because all you'd really have to switch out is the GPU. And that, again, you have variance in there between all the way from $300 all the way to what we're spending at $1,000, right? So you can basically kind of tailor this build to what it is that you want to do in your budget, but at the same time, literally have an entire PC that you can follow a guide from beginning to end. So we're going to show you the entire process, so that way by the time if you were to follow along with this, you would know how to completely set up a PC. And then the other thing too, which is really cool, is that Maiden, I don't know if he's here today on the show or not. Actually, if you go to robeytech.com, Maiden built a whole guide, a step-by-step guide for installing Windows. We're going to show you installing Windows here today as well. But if you wanted to follow along and get some additional help, we have that as well. So a huge shout out to Shio for resubscribing with Prime. We got James Ambergery resubscribing, Eric Troll Kings resubscribing. We got Duke Nader 13 also for resubscribing. In terms of giveaways, well, you can see one thing, right? We're going to be drawing our winner for the Spider-Man PC here by the end of the week. And then we have over here the giveaway for the month of, basically for the month January and February, which is this Project Zero build. It's a 14600K with a 4070 Ti. So that is up for grabs for one lucky sub. All you got to do is do what many people are doing, dropping their Amazon Prime sub, whatever, and then you are entered to win that amazing PC. The other thing too is if we get a level 5 hype train, $25. If we get 250 likes over at youtube.com/Robeytech, we'll also give away $25. And if we get 50 subs, $50, 100 subs, $100, and it goes on from there. But today I'm really just going to kind of focus less on a lot of the giveaway stuff and really just focus on doing the build. You probably saw that last week with all the push to Twitch to Partner Plus. I really wanted to kind of back off a little bit because there was a lot of asking you guys to support me. Not to say that you don't need the support, because that's how we do the giveaways and stuff, but just a little bit more getting to the core of gaming and streaming and all that sort of stuff again. So thank you very much to Igor, Chio, Austrider, all you guys. Can we just get to level 5 real quick? Because I'd love to just get started with the build. And then we'll go from there. So if you guys want to just get it done, redo your subs, this is a great time to do it. It also unlocks another giveaway, which is also amazing. We're at level 3 already, and then we can start talking about parts and then start doing the build and getting into that. So thank you very much for all the subs. Hey, Robey, curious. So Laud, yours is this weekend. The other one is being done. The other Y70 is being done off because we ended up having an issue with the Mobo. So that one's just going to get done. So yours is literally the only one left, and we just had to wait for a gap in the schedule. So it was supposed to be this weekend, but I'm not here this weekend, so we moved it to next week. So it's soon. And then yours is the only Y70 that we're doing because yours is the white one, right? Yours is the white one, right? Isn't that true, Lod? Or is yours the black one? Because the black one's just being built because you waited so long, and I wanted to get yours built so it goes out next week. I'm just trying to remember which one is yours. So let me know if it's black or white, because that'll tell me which one you're waiting for. The Montauk King Pro arrived and the swap was smooth and couldn't be happier with how the PC looks. Boomstick, thank you very much for the sub. Poobutt, that's a name. 2000, thank you very much for the sub as well. The Prime sub. Guys, we're at level 3. Let's finish it out. It looks so cool. Yeah, dude, the Montauk King is a fantastic case. We're going to be doing a review of that one and all that case and everything as well. It's so good to see everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I think today is going to be a fun episode. Okay, so black, that's just getting built on Monday. We're just going to get it built so it goes out, because you've waited long enough. You waited forever for your case. The case is here. We're just going to get it built so you can get it next week. So I wasn't even going to plan on streaming it because I didn't think you wanted to wait anymore. Let me know if that's not true, but right now it's just literally sitting there for me to basically get taken care of on Monday. So, what are your thoughts on the 4070 Super? 4070 Super is the most interesting of all the Super cards. If you really want to know, K Busa, I literally have a whole review that's live up on the channel over at Robeytech Live if you want to see my entire thoughts and where it fits in a buyer's guide. And I just did a whole end GPU buyer's guide too that should help you choose where you want to go in terms of your overall build and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not on the schedule because I'm gone this weekend. It was supposed to be on this weekend. But the only thing is he had a problem with the board, and then the board is coming in on Friday, which I told you, right? So you knew that. And then the build's just getting built. So that was not that. It was a different issue. No, because this was a 14.9. So, no. You're welcome a lot. That is we've talked, so you knew what the plan was. So yeah, but just to reaffirm. Guys, let's level 3, let's get 2 minutes, let's just knock it out. Mr. SpongeBob Tech, thank you very much for that. Let's get to level 5, then we can just get started on the build and get this going, right? So thank you very much. And all of that, thank you very much, Mr. SpongeBob Tech, I appreciate the hype. So it'll be announced early next week, Kase Kenobi. We always announce them on the week, and then and then the one from there will be announced sometime in the next, sometime in early March. So, Brandon, thank you very much. Brandon Chance Music, thank you very much for the sub. Guys, we're almost to level 4. And we always announce that you don't have to be present for that one. Let's get it done, guys. Thank you very much. Jet Che off, resubscribing 20 months, dude. Thank you very much for that. So my recommendation for a board for AM5 would be either an MSI boards, any one of those I'm really happy with. I know that there's some issues with specifically the more simple stuff on the ASRock side, so that's up to you if you want to go and do an ASRock motherboard. And then because there's been some stuff like Gamers Nexus just found with simple settings for PBO. And then, but I love MSI. They've kind of been an easy no-brainer for me. So. Yeah. So he said that was the thing, is like that's the issue. Gigabyte is, I have a hard time recommending Gigabyte because I've had a number, but they're sending me new boards, so we'll start playing with those again. I've had a bunch of them where the LAN ports have died and stuff like that. ASRock, the only reason I'm saying is that there's a couple things. Okay, let me just, I'll go through this. ASRock is great, easiest to set up. Their RGB software is a giant pain, and it does work sometimes with Signal RGB. Apparently it's getting better, and then there's been some issues with settings with PBO, which Gamers Nexus just mentioned and stuff like that. It does work in the advanced settings, but on the top level settings, there's been problems. That's been the only thing there. But outside of that, they have some of the best just getting it set up and installing and getting it ready to go outside of the whole RGB thing. Gigabyte, the only thing I've had with Gigabyte, hey, thank you very much for all those subs, guys, Senator and everybody else. Gigabyte, it's just been, like for me, I literally have a stack of them. The LAN ports keep going out on them. Specifically, I know a lot of people probably use Wi-Fi, but I've just had issues with that. Outside of that, I haven't had much of a problem, and their software's gotten a whole lot better. MSI, in terms of just, they have been like my darling, outside of the fact that they have essentially started adding additional adware stuff into their initial setup things. As long as you're just smart about unclicking those, it's usually pretty good. But I've had two of their boards fail on me just in a recent situation, an Edge, both on AMD and on Z790. But you guys have to understand how many boards I use. A lot larger than most people, because I build, we essentially do on average 3 builds a week, plus more. Sometimes we do commissions and stuff like that. So the thing is like, I'm just giving you sample numbers, which have a tendency to be a lot higher than most individuals. So we never do so we're supposed to partner with Signal RGB. It's one of the things they've been asking us to do. It's just, guys, it's just time. It's like, I always have to prioritize cases and boards and stuff like that first. But if there's an opportunity to do Signal RGB, I absolutely will. Guys, can we just, we're almost there. We just got to finish this next level and a half, and then we'll be good. Thank you very much, Buttonator, for all the bits and stuff like that. Every time, laugh out loud. What did he say? What was the issue? Sorry, that every time. I must have missed that thing. Yeah, it's on on Intel. There hasn't been a lot of complaints on the ASUS sides, but if it's AM5, that seems to have been a bigger issue. Thank you very much for all the bits and stuff, guys. We're almost there. We got just a little bit to go, and then we'll be level 5. We'll get through level 5, and then we'll get started on the actual build and stuff like that. Hey, thank you very much, Buttonator, for the 2 gifted subs. I must have missed the comment. Hey, Enigmatic Swig. I like that name. Thank you very much for the gifted sub. Hey, well, duh. Thank you for Prime. Ubu, thank you very much as well. Last one. We got Buttonator getting 2 more. Replica Gaming resubscribing with tier 1. Okay, guys, we're almost there. Just got to finish this level and we'll be good. 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and then we'll get right into the build. We're almost there, guys. Thank you very much, Buttonator, for all the subs. We'll get there. We're almost there. 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and we'll be done. Hey, Jimmy Kibex, there he goes. Now we're level 5, and let's get into the build, guys. Done. $25 will unlock. If you do more, amazing. We'll get to more subs and all that sort of stuff. So let's go here. Okay, so what's going inside of this build today? This is going to be fun. I'm sure Org may have a little bit of heart palpitations, but we'll see how this goes. We're going to be using an Intel Core i7, dang it. Core i7 14700K. Sorry about that, Sean. Intel Core i7 14700K. The motherboard is Asus ProArt Z790. That's actually not true either. It's an MSI Z790 Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi. I'm going to get this fixed. For the Nvidia, we're using an Nvidia RTX 4080 Super. For the storage, we're using a 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte Gen 4 NVMe drive. We're using the case. We're using Kingston Fury Beast 6000 Megatransfer RAM. Yeah, it's actually not Beast, it's just Kingston Fury. And then we're using the Arc Performance 1 Silent Corsair A115 cooler. And then we're using the Asus TUF 850 watt gold PSU. But I'm gonna have Sean fix this. Hey, Sean, some parts wrong. Are wrong. Tom, can you send him the upload? Dated list. And can I get a new one? Okay, so sorry about that, guys. We'll get that fixed. But that is what we're doing today. Yeah, so this is a build. This is straightforward. What we're trying to do, there's no cable extensions, there's no additional fans, there is nothing. All of this is just about simplicity, getting a build built, getting it into a case, and then being done. And then showing you guys from beginning to end what to do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off at the beginning. We're gonna take the case and put it away. Ugh. Yeah, it's a no frills build. Okay, so we're gonna grab our Z790, and I want you guys, this is some stuff that I would, if I was doing this, these are things that I would do to basically make sure that my build just in general was set up for success, if that makes sense. So, and again, very little RGB in this actually. So yeah. Yeah, we did. We've changed all of this stuff to basically just make it as simple as possible. Hey, Robey, what would you recommend for streaming and playing games, for example, Warzone? Warzone is a huge fan of AMD, so if we could, for gaming and streaming, the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, specifically for Warzone. Because I'll just tell you, Bob Ganoush, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. I'll just tell you, man, COD loves AMD.
I'm presuming Robey's doing this because he already tested it, so we'll see.
I have not tested this, but
oh, this will be interesting.
I have tested a 14700K on an MA824, and this is 1 degree cooler than an MA824, so this should absolutely work. But we will find out, because we finished a review of this cooler, and this cooler is a 250 watt TDP, so it should be fine. But we're gonna find out. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is we're actually gonna place the motherboard on top of the Mobo box. So this is a little bit different than what you would typically see. And then the 3080 has an RGB light. It lights up, but that's kind of it. So what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna go ahead and breadboard this. So we're gonna put in and don't forget to hit the likes, guys. Yeah, this cooler, and it's 99 bucks, is a fantastic cooler. So it should cool it no problem. And it should also be quiet. But we'll show you how to set it up to make sure it can. Yeah, this is a special box. So yeah. Just getting the graphic fixed.
So Robey, while we're waiting for the graphic,
how
big is it?
Huh? No, I'm just telling you what was wrong with it. Go ahead. What's the question?
My question was, how big is this motherboard? Do we have anything to scale it with?
Oh, we do, but I forgot them. I'll have them bring them over. I was wondering where those came from. I'll have my, hold on. Let me just have my, yes, we do have something to scale it with. Let me go take care of that and not ruin the surprise. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we've done is we've essentially put there's not going to be any points today. Especially, we'll do it for zip ties, but outside of that, nothing else for guessing and stuff today, because I don't want it where the clicks are going to be different. So yeah. Okay, so we got that in. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install our RAM, which in this case we have the Kingston Fury. This is just 6,000 mega transfer, no RGB, DDR5 at 6,000 megahertz. Chippy skipping leg day. So it's not Beast. Well, maybe it is Beast. I don't know. I mean, I sent him the actual model number. So Tom would know. Just doesn't say Beast on. Oh yeah, it is Beast. Never mind. So that is correct. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's get these in. So for these, we got double slots basically on the Mobo here, guys. You zoom in. Hey, ZigPC, thank you very much for the sub. You zoom in here, right here, it's actually showing you where you're actually supposed to put the RAM. We're gonna put it in RAM. We're gonna basically put it in DIMM 2, and then we're gonna put it here in this one as well. So these are the two slots we wanna stick the RAM. Ooh, that was a good sounding click though. Probably would have been good on the meter. Oh, there we go. Okay, so RAM is in. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and install our NVMe drives. Yeah, it is Beast RAM. I mean, again, for me, it's not, I'm not overly worried about it for the RAM for the colors, because the case is gonna be covering it. I think you are right for some people's color combinations. I don't know why they decided to go bright yellow. It does feel like a little bit kind of out there from a visual aesthetic standpoint. But I mean, we've made it look good before. We've used this in black builds and it's looked fine. It's minor, right? I don't think it's as bad, but yeah. But I kind of like the all black aesthetic and simpler of like the Carbon and the OG version of the Z790 versus the refresh version. Okay, let's grab our 1 terabyte. I'm gonna throw it in the top slot.
Robey, is there still a peel on that?
On what?
The slot.
No, both of them are clean.
Okay, just the camera then.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Oh. It's always like the part where you gotta get this in just right. Wow. There we go. There we go. Pop this on now, which is very, very simple. It's got a little latch on it. You just pop it in like so. There you go. And then we'll take the second one, we'll put it into 2. There we go, and there is no peel on this, just so you guys know. Okay, and then as you guys have requested, people want to know things for scale. Okay. So we want to make sure that we can show you guys appropriate scale. And so the team took it upon themselves to make sure that we could appropriately show you the scale of said components from now on. So just so you know, here is an ATX motherboard versus a banana. So there. You might even be able to say that if you want to know if, like, to just appropriately measure it at all times, so we can make sure that we know, because I feel like this is important, right? Like, you really want to know, and you want a standard measurement for motherboards. This motherboard is in fact 1 3/4 bananas in height, right? So I feel like that's really important to know. While the motherboard box is almost a 2 total bananas in height. So just so you know, standard measurement if you guys are curious about said links, and we will make sure that we use bananas for reference in all cases. So there is a NVMe versus a banana, which is super important, right? You want to know that.
They are definitely not plantains.
No. And then there is a CPU versus a banana. And then RAM is almost a banana in length, not quite, you know? So again, we have bananas on standby for all appropriate questions in the future.
This is the new imperial system coming from America, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. It's like everything is measured in bananas. There we go. Now I know who sent these. My wife was like, "What's up with the bananas?" I was like, "I think I know where those are from." But I was like, they won't let me forget if they are. Okay, cool. So that is everything all on our motherboard and set and good to go. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and throw some thermal paste on here. In our case, we use NTH2, and then for my spreading, I essentially use a thermal paste spreader. So what I do is I basically do a pretty good sized dot. You want to be able to spread it pretty easily. So it's a little bit bigger than the little P that they talk about. I have a tendency to also make sure that It's essentially 1/125th of a banana in thickness in terms of from the bottom. So like in terms of that's how tall my dab of thermal paste is 1/25th of the height of a banana. So, which everybody should know. I mean, like that's like a standard measurement, right? So, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna spread that out. You just want to make sure you have a good, even spread here. It takes some time. Do not use bananas to spread it, though. I'm just letting you know. That might be harder.
There is a Japanese thermal paste, though, that smells like strawberries. So
I know, I saw that.
If you're thinking of strawberries and bananas...
Falcon Northwest has, I think, it put it exactly. This is a very appealing measuring system.
It's Falcon here. Oh, Kelt's like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't miss this episode.
Oh, I am. I've been waiting since I got the notification it arrived.
Well, luckily it'll be a standard from now on. The bananas we need, in bananas we trust. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is our thermal paste, nice and evenly spread. Oh, it's a universal. You're absolutely right, and thank you very much for getting us bananas. We're all about it, and I'm glad you were excited that you found something that you can add.
I was talking with Damien about it as soon as we had been joking about it, and he's like, "Oh, we should so do this." I'm like,
if we could get sponsored by Dole, that'd be rad. And then like we get like a free lifetime supply of bananas.
I mean, we just go get some Dole Whips.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing. That's pineapple though. We got to get pineapple into the show somehow. Okay. So what we are going to show you guys now, and we're still getting this breadboarded, but we're going to test this with the cooler. You can do this with an AIO as well. We were testing the brand new Corsair A115 or A115 cooler. We have the review for this coming out next week. So the video is an edit, all that sort of stuff. Fan-freaking-tastic cooler. In terms of just comparatively to their first entry, which was almost 3 years ago. In terms of performance, it's better than a D15 and slightly, I mean just slightly below an MA824. So very, very excited, and they dropped the price from $129.99 down to $99.99. So from a performance value, it's actually still very, very impressive. When we tested it with the 14600K or 13600K, I don't remember you'd have to go back and look at the data when the review comes out. I was averaging around 82, which was actually pretty cool. So we're gonna be showing this off, getting this installed, and then we'll basically get everything. So in this case, what we're doing is we're gonna build the entire PC outside of the case, make sure all the components work. So if there are any issues, it's much easier to work in versus having to strip things out. Falcon says, get a larger cooler, please. This is fine. This is fine, okay? And then we're gonna show you how to install this and stuff like that. Speed Racer, it got dropped before it even released. So luckily, because of just the way some embargoes and things work, they were able to bring the price down. Yeah. It's the size of a house. I like that. Just so you know, it's not the size of a house. It's about the size of one banana in height. So I'm just saying, that's not a house. You can't live in a banana, but you can measure things with a banana. So let's just make sure we get that right, okay? I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking, T-Man. Okay, so here we are. We're just going to take out our fans real quick and our other supplies we need, which in this case is like they've gone to this new recycle for everything, which makes it a little harder in terms of opening and stuff like that. But yeah, there we go. We're going to grab our cooler. And go from there. The fans are 100. I think they're 140s. But the one thing that I really actually appreciate about this cooler is the size of the cooling plate. I mean, this thing is like a Snuggie for your CPU. I mean, check it out, guys. go to top down here so you guys can just look at how big that cooling plate is. Very, very nice size cooling plate for doing your installation and everything like that, which is actually pretty cool. So I like it. I like it a lot. And then now it just has, the other thing that's really neat about this is the way that this works is it's on a rail system. So here we'll go to a side camera here so you guys can see this. Actually, we'll just grab our roaming cam. That'll be the easiest way for you to be able to see it. So you go to roaming here, and then you'll actually be able to see there's actually little, like almost little rails, and you can just lift it right up and off. And then the top of it actually has a rail system for basically putting the thing. So like getting the fans on is very easy because you don't have to do any clips or anything like that. It just has rails that are on the fan that you just slide on and off. So it makes it really, really easy in that regard, which is pretty cool. So we've slid it out and it's now ready to be installed.
Araxnus has asked, is that fan fully user replaceable?
Yes, yep, it is fully user replaceable. You can unscrew the, I'll show you a close-up here in a second. Yes, you can replace the fan. It's not like the MA824. It's got brackets on it, as you can see, and you can just replace the brackets with it. So if you wanted to replace the fan, you absolutely could replace the fan. So we're gonna grab the Intel retention kit. Just gonna be careful in opening this. So it's got our Intel clips. There we go. We got our thumb pieces, of which there's 4. Yes, there are air coolers with screens. We've actually used them. Deep Cool makes them. I wouldn't be surprised if we see. And then we have Intel LGA 1700. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in time Corsair releases those two. Like that there would be a Corsair one with a screen. Okay, so there we go. Get our so getting all of this out. And I'll show you everything I've taken out of the paper here so you guys can, if you're following along or trying to do this build, you're not like, what did he take out? It's like, I want to make super clear. T-Man, which news? There was actually a lot of news today. Yeah, we can show you that, James, here in a minute. I don't know if I'm guessing Damien's not here, but I don't know if somebody can look up the cooler height real quick. If Org or somebody can look up the cooler height.
The specs say 164.8, so let's call it 165.
So 165.
And higher if you have to do an offset.
Yeah. And then here are the fan clips. Gotta be careful here. Ooh. Trying very hard to open this and not rip it, so. There we go. And then there's our fan screws. So we're just getting everything out for our fans. Okay, cool. Okay, that's everything. And this does work for AMD as well. You can absolutely do this. This is a very easy kind of cooler to get set up, which is actually pretty neat. Okay, so we're just gonna get this all placed back together. All right, so let me show you what we've got out. So here's everything that you will need for this particular build. So we have our cooler, we have our fans, our 2 fans, like so. We have fan brackets, we have 4 screws for the fan brackets, we have our LGA 1700 parts, we have our Intel mounts, and then we've got our Intel backplate. So this is everything that you need for this particular build, so that I took out of the A115 box. So, and then again, there's pretty simple instructions on how to do that. Okay, so I can measure my banana that we have. This banana is essentially 7 1/4 inches long. So that's how big this banana is, 7 1/4 inches. So if you are curious, like if I say it's one banana, it's 7 1/4 inches in length. Okay, so let's go ahead, push this stuff out of the way, start getting our build put together. So we're gonna grab our bracket right here, which is already kind of built. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna literally set this on the back like that. It'll just slip right in. Pretty straightforward process here. There we go. And we're gonna set this and kind of set it down and roll it back up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our brackets, our little mounting screws, we're gonna mount them and go in every corner. And you're gonna go you wanna go as tight, as finger tight as you can. Nice speed. I would say be patient. That would be my one sentence on how to do it. Be patient and take your time, right? If you have a question, you don't know something, look it up. And there's no need to get it done quickly. Doing things in a rush is what breaks components. Okay, there we go. Tighten it really nice. That's your back in IT again? Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations. Well, that's unfortunate, okay, but they got it fixed. They're gonna refund you. Wow, 3 more certifications. That's a lot. Okay, so I'm just gonna make that nice and finger tight. Then we're gonna do this next one. And then on the bottom of this, just as an FYI, there is a little washer. So you want the part with the washer down and the part with the silver up. There we go. Okay, next step is we're going to put this in. What we should probably do is make sure that we're doing this right. Yeah, it definitely goes like this. But I'm going to read the instructions because this is not even. So I'm just gonna make sure, and when in doubt, read the instructions, guys. Which I have to grab off of the box here. Just scrolling, accept cookies. Put the back on. Put the screws on. Okay, so it's at the top. Okay, so I was right. Okay. It doesn't seem straight. That's the part that's weird. Like, that's not... Hey, Zigpig, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Okay, there, that one's straight. I just want to make sure it's even. There we go, okay. There we go. Okay, so just making sure that they're even. Now we're gonna screw this down, and you're gonna wanna use a screw to screw these all the way down. You wanna make sure these are tight, because this tightness does actually matter. That doesn't mean over tighten, it just means tighten to make sure that it's all the way down, because if you don't, then you won't get a good seal against your CPU. Gotta snap those brackets out to max distance. So the brackets are already, these aren't like Asus ones. There's only one hole for the brackets. So it only goes in one way. So yeah, since the bracket's all the way in, and notice I'm just screwing this and making sure it's nice and tight. Just like that. Okay, now for the next step, we're gonna take the Corsair. I believe the Corsair is going on the right side. So it's gonna go like, making sure. Okay, cool. Yep, so the Corsair is gonna go on the left-hand side, like so. Just like that. Tighten it down. There we go. Pretty straightforward there. There we go. Same thing with this one. Tighten it all the way down. Make sure it is all the way down. It's just gonna stop. You can't go anymore. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our rail one. And you're just gonna slide this onto the rail, like so. Makes it really easy to make sure it's snug. There you go, just like that. Okay, and then you can notice that for the second one, we got to get this installed. So the way that this essentially works is you're going to install it like this, so that this is up at the top. No, we might do some Mickey Mouse play-by-play a little bit later. There we go. We'll screw this down. Same thing with this one. Just make sure it's nice and tight. You don't need to over tighten it, but just go till it stops, you know? There we go. Same thing with the left side. Yeah, there's thermal paste. I put the thermal paste on beforehand. This is obviously, we did this for the review, so this one, I believe the thermal paste is pre-applied on this. There we go. Last one, last screw, whoops.
Yeah, I don't see a tube included. Also to note, It does look like you can do pull on the fans if you have tall ARGB RAM.
Yes, you can. And then you can just switch the bracket around, and it does provide, you can see it has brackets for basically both modes, which is actually pretty cool. And then what we're gonna do, but we don't have tall RAM, so we're just gonna slip that all the way down. And there we go. Now it is, and you can see this a little bit from the side camera, even if, like, this is fairly low profile RAM, but you are getting some height, some offset here, so you could even go lower profile, but this is actually pretty low profile, which is why we got rid of the RGB RAM. But the thing is that we have tested it with like just RAM sticks, and there was no difference in terms of temps if it was like straight across or even like this. So it does a pretty good job of cooling even with this height of an offset. So what I'm going to do now is I'm literally going to tuck these in here. And this does actually have a splitter. I guess I forgot to get it out of the box. So it's just one of those things that, yes, you are gonna have to raise for RAM height. Forgot to get my, I don't think it's in here. Oh, there it is, yep. That's what I was looking for right there. Okay, so that's all squared now. Okay, so the last thing I grabbed out of here was the braided cable that I'm gonna use to essentially split these. And then these are going to run into the single CPU fan, and I'll show you the connection for that here in a second. Now what I'm doing right now is just tucking these under. By the way, people are always like, hey, is that gonna melt the cables or anything like that? The answer is no. There's no issue with the cables. The cables can totally be tucked under here and not have a problem. So I'm just literally stacking these underneath. I do want to get them off the RAM though. There's a lot of heat pipes, so. There you go. Just making sure that the tuck is all the way in. Nothing is, so there you go. Okay, so now when you look at my build, you can see there's no cables, you can't see them. I'll show you via roaming. Okay, so what I did here, as you can see that I basically tucked all of my cables into this section underneath, right? Off of the side of the RAM, and then all I have. So there's like very, very little cable that you can actually see. It just makes it a whole lot easier. And then what you end up with a single clean build. And then for the plug I plugged it into, it's this one here on the right, which is your CPU cable. So the one over, and then this is, because it's in a splitter, this will basically run both fans. So you can see it's right up against the edge of the RAM. So it's sitting along the top of the RAM. So that's all your clearance in the entire board. So now we are squared there. Well, that's why we don't have RGB RAM. And understand, Naveem, this has, like, you're not gonna see, this is a simple build, no frills, just making it really easy. So at this point in time, like in terms of just time and everything like that, it's pretty simple what we've just been able to accomplish given the amount of time. The next thing we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna grab our PSU. And you're like, what? This is the part that I was telling you about that's a little bit different, but this is what I normally do that you guys don't see, but this is what I'd recommend doing. So this is like a step-by-step, soup to nuts, taking you through the entire process. We're gonna grab our 850 watt PSU. Then for cables, we're gonna grab one CPU cable. We're gonna grab our PSU cable. Do the Drew, thank you for the resub. Zig PC, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs, by the way. GL Rods, thank you very much for the sub as well. And Zig PC for the other sub. So we're grabbing our motherboard cable. And then the last cable we're gonna grab is actually our 16 pin. And then you would grab your power cable, but I have one outside of that. So we're gonna grab our PSU. And I'm gonna grab my 16 pin connection. And then these are all the cables I'm gonna take out for now. Let me put this away. Oops. No, this goes in the AIO. There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just move this out of the way for now. We're gonna take a drink. Okay, so we're gonna take our PSU cable here. We're gonna connect that right here on our 24 pin. Just like that. We're gonna take our CPU cable. We're gonna plug that up here into our CPU. Either one is fine. If you wanted to connect both, you could. I don't bother. You don't need to. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 16 pin and plug that in here. Take my PSU cable, plug that in here. Take this, plug this in here, and take our CPU and plug it in right there. Okay? And that's going to sit just like this. So there's my PSU. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab my GPU. To make sure that my motherboard is all the way up against the edge. I'm gonna take my GPU and I'm gonna plug it in right on top here, just like that. I'm gonna take my 16 pin connection. I'm literally just gonna plug it in right here. And now the question is, guys, will it post? So we'll let you guys answer that while I plug this in and get this all hooked up to test. So the question is, will it post? Because this time, we don't know, we didn't test it. So we'll let that run for a second. Now while we're waiting for that to run, I'm basically plugging in network, I'm plugging in power, and then I'm gonna take my mouse and my keyboard and I'm gonna plug those in too. And this is what we're doing right now is called breadboarding. Even though we would measure with a banana, this time we're breadboarding. Okay, so we're gonna plug that in. And what we wanna do, what we're testing right now and why we're doing this, is that you want to make sure that all of your components work before you put them inside of the case. We haven't even gotten to that part yet, Jenkins. Okay, so we're gonna go to there, get that plugged in. So what we've plugged in so far is our mouse, our keyboard, and our power. So everything's kind of plugged in there. But one thing we're gonna do before we get to that is we're gonna pop over to here, onto a laptop, another desktop, or anything like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna search for MSI Z790 Tomahawk Wi-Fi DDR Tomahawk Max. Max Wi-Fi. I'm going to search for that. And then I'm going to go to this right here, which is the Wi-Fi here. So I'm going to make sure this is my board. I'm going to hit accept. I'm going to go to support. Right there. I'm going to go to BIOS. And you see where it says AMI BIOS. This is all there. The latest release was 11.02. I'm going to download this BIOS. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flash drive. Take a flash drive. I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to open this file. I'm going to go here to my flash drive, MSI. I have all of these ones that I've used. So I'm going to go to Z790. So I don't have one, I don't think. So I'm going to go ahead and grab make a new directory. Copy that. Open this. And I'm going to go back to that folder I had. Open this up. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put this in this folder. And why I'm doing this, guys, is because I'm making sure when I make sure the system boots up, that everything works, all that sort of stuff, I want to update the BIOS. We're going to install Windows. We're going to do all of that outside of the case. To make sure it all works and it's all good to go before we even put it inside the case. Because when it's like this, it's much easier to work on. It's much easier to test things. If you get if some component's broken, you can swap it out, test it, make sure, find out what works, and all that sort of stuff. So a much easier state, and then to easily unplug things versus doing this inside of the case. Yeah, these are refresh boards, so this one will work right out of the case. Yeah, like we won't have any problem there. Okay, so going back to the capture, we're gonna go here, click on this, hit eject, mass storage. That'll give us our thing from there. We're gonna go to top down. We're gonna take our NVMe drive, our flash drive, we're gonna plug that in. And then the last thing I gotta do now, grab our HDMI cable and plug that into right there as well. Okay, so everything is good to go. Now what I'm gonna do, we go to the roaming here. Make sure my PSU is on. Okay, so I'm gonna click this on. And I'm gonna take a screwdriver. And then in this JF1, you're gonna basically take a screwdriver, unless you don't have a power supply, you're gonna take a screwdriver and you're gonna put it on these two ends, just like that. And then that turns the PC on. So I basically just jumped the PC and now you can see it's actually all on. I touched it and now the PC is on. So now we're gonna test and you can see everything powers up. Now the question is, will it post? So we're gonna watch and see. So now we wait. Oh, that's a good sign. We're gonna start hitting delete. There it is, F1 to run setup. Okay, so we are now posted, so it did post. So now we're inside. We're gonna get into the BIOS. Now a couple things we're gonna do. This first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to flash right here. M-flash, you hit yes. And it's gonna restart. Yeah, I want to give you guys the full rundown as well. So this is what you should be doing if you're doing a new PC. These are steps you should take, because doing stuff like this basically makes sure your power supply works, your graphics card works, your cooler works, everything works, again, while you're ensuring that the system is good to go. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump down here to our MSI. We're gonna go find our Z790 Tomahawk Max. Click this. I know it's the same one we already have. I'm just running through because I've already updated. We've used this before, but I'm essentially updating my BIOS now. So I'm going to flash the BIOS with the latest BIOS, so the latest BIOS flash right now.
If you're not using your refresh board, you'll need to make sure your board has QFlash Plus or Flashback to update your BIOS for 14th gen support.
Well, this BIOS, the reason it took so long is because this BIOS was actually already on that version. I'm just showing you the steps. So yours, when you do this, if you're following along and you want to build this exact same build, you would just know that it was going to take a little bit longer. So this is not indicative of how fast it is. And somebody says, I've never updated a BIOS, I'm too scared. You should not be too scared to update a BIOS. However, here's the deal. If everything is working fine on your system, you don't need to update your BIOS. Like, that's the whole thing, is a BIOS is not something like a Windows update or anything like that where you're like, I need to get and make sure I update every BIOS. That's actually not true. You should only update a BIOS when you're seeing things like, I'll update BIOSes when I'm seeing some instability with RAM. And the other thing too is that as you use your PC, you might see some of that instability. That's where a BIOS update will actually do things like, as RAM compatibility or microcode updates show up in BIOSes, it's worth basically doing that refresh or whatever, or updating your BIOS in this case. So, but what we're going to do, again, that's where it's important to know what's going on in your BIOS and pay attention. Where you might see this be something more frequent, in this case, might specifically be because, and this is the big caveat. If you are an early adopter, say for instance, you've done a Z790 Max board, or you're getting into 15th gen or Ryzen 8000 series, BIOS updates actually can do things like performance updates, etc., for your CPU. So updating your BIOS, especially if you're an early adopter, may be more imperative versus if you are a late adopter or you're coming into a much more mature platform where BIOS updates end up not being that big of a deal. So, I like doing it via the mFlash just because I always like UEFI, doing it from within. I know that there are some that you can do it via UEFI inside of like apps and stuff on the system. I always like it better when you do it from the BIOS. It just feels less prone to error. And absence of logic, that is absolutely true. Like right now, if I was to lose power right now, luckily all of these are on a UPS. I can show you the UPS here in a minute. I'm just trying to get into the BIOS. Okay, so when you see here, I'll just show you. And this is always important. Somebody was bringing up, this is a really key part right over here in the corner, is you can actually see it right there. There is our UPS, our APC UPS, which is a battery backup. So should something actually go wrong, that basically keeps the whole, we have a number of these sitting in the studio. So should something actually happen, we can actually, and the power goes out, we never end up bricking anything like that. So, all right, so let's go to capture. The next thing I'm gonna do, and this is something that you can do or not, I like to do it, I'm gonna go to F7, I'm gonna go to settings, I'm gonna go to advanced, and I'm gonna go to, oh, you know what, it might not be, where is it in this one? Oh, actually it might be in simple. Storage, no, where is it? Sorry, I gotta remember where this is. It's different for everyone. Settings.
Are you looking for the cooler setting?
No. I'm looking, there it is. So go to settings, go to secure erase, hit yes. And I'm gonna boot into another tool. This is if you want, like, especially if you're doing a new system, you're using an old drive, an OS drive, old anything like that. I go into Secure Erase and I essentially will erase this. This is a NVMe drive, already has Windows on it, all that sort of stuff, but I want to show you guys the entire process, so I'm going to erase the drive. So here it is. You can see I'm in Secure Erase now. I'm going to go to the 1 terabyte and I'm going to erase that drive. Not the second drive. The second drive already has games on it, and I want to make sure we can still benchmark stuff. So there we go. It's done. And now I'm going to reboot this. And then, Org alluded to it already, now I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure that my cooler is set for box cooler, which is going to be super important for this build, and make sure that I'm at Intel stock settings. So we're going to do that next. Hey, trying to teach you guys everything. So this is like the whole process that you should do when you're basically doing a build for sure. Okay. So now we're in the build. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to advanced here. We're going to go to settings. We're going to go to overclocking, and then we're going to go down here to where it says water cooled, and we're going to change that to box cooler. The main reason for this is, notice next to it, it says 253 watts, 288 watts, 4,096 watts. We basically need to make sure that this is at stock settings, which is 253 watts, and that it will keep it. Basically, this will keep our system from getting out of control from cooling, which if we're going to do a box cooler, we absolutely need to do. The other thing I'm going to do, and if you want to know how to set up a Windows flash drive, we actually have a guide for that we'll link here in a minute. But this is a Windows flash drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. I'm going to plug this in now. And we're going to install Windows while this is all boxed and set up. And again, this will test instability. If we need to do RAM changes or anything like that, it's still doing it while it's outside. Oh, there it is, okay. The tower cooler one is they have a tower cooler and AIO one. We are doing the tower cooler, the box cooler. Okay, so we're back in capture here. Now one thing I'm not gonna do, and I always recommend this when installing Windows, I'm not enabling XMP when installing Windows. I'm just gonna leave it with stack at 4,800 megahertz, and I'm good to go there. So I'm just gonna hit F10, and I'm just gonna, notice I changed my cooling down. I'm gonna hit yes, and then it's gonna restart. And now we've got our boot drive in, and now we're gonna start the Windows installation. Yeah, if you didn't care, but I will be honest, people are asking about the water cooler. Here's the thing, I would rather, for me, I have a tendency to set it to box cooler, and then I use XMP, I use XTU, or I'll just basically set the settings on my own in the BIOS. I find the fine tuning on Intel specifically, you don't need that kind of wattage, and a lot of times you'll end up doing undervolting and then increasing wattage over time, versus just doing it with what it does in the BIOS, which lets it run rampant. The other thing too is that letting it run at just max crazy, a lot of time doesn't get you a higher Cinebench score, it just makes it a whole lot hotter and harder to cool. Yeah. Yes, you have to do this in ASUS as well. You'll set it to ASUS. It's actually called, it has a different setting we're showing you because this is build specific. In ASUS, it's basically setting it to enforce all stock settings and turning off what are called MCE or multi-core enhancement. Okay, so we're gonna hit next here, install now. You're very welcome, Mark. I am gonna hit, I don't have a product key. I'm gonna choose Windows 10 Pro because I just like Pro. And as you can see with VIP/CDK deals, it's like cheap. Hit next, go to custom. I'm gonna choose this one right here, drive 0, because drive 1 is my game drive. This is my OS drive, my Windows installation media. So I'm gonna hit next here, and then I'm just gonna let this finish. This is running Windows 11. So if I have an AIO cooler, so James, my recommendation is always to run the box cooler and run it at Intel stock settings. Because again, the difference in overall performance between the Cinebench on that and the Cinebench that you're gonna get if you're running it at max is maybe 1,500 points, but the cooling capacity is gonna be super maxed, and at the same time, the other thing too is that you're gonna see almost no difference of frames, especially if you're running at 1440p or 4K. Yeah. Yeah, James, that's always the thing, is like I would leave it at box, and for most people, I don't let motherboards do their thing. I've seen very few that have been responsible with the amount of power that Intel actually needs, which is why, in some regards, don't get me wrong, Intel deserves the rap in terms of these things run hot. It's just not as bad as people are saying. Does that make sense? Yeah, Windows installs fast when you have an NVMe drive. Pull that out, and now we just wait for the rest. So org, that's what all of them do. They all default to MCE. I'm gonna reboot this. Yeah, that's the thing, is like it used to be a lot more that way. It's not so much that way anymore. Which is why we do guides like this to show people that you don't necessarily mean to jam it with all the power in the world. There you go, IKEA, and it's really easy to find. So we're just letting the install finish. That's cool, Speed Race. Yeah, I do like the yellow dragon. And then once we're done with this, once this is all set up and we got everything in, the next step, guys, will be essentially getting this inside the case, which actually should be pretty quick. And then we'll go from there. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. So like I want to do streams like this every once in a while and be a little smarter with builds, so we can show you, so we can do a better job of showing you how to do setups and stuff like that. Like, so have these end-to-end, more builder-friendly, like new builder-friendly type builds. So that way you guys can see the whole end-to-end process. The one thing I have to be really careful about is that sometimes, especially if there's a lot of RGB or AIOs and stuff like that, is that this process it's usually hours of my time before we even get to a stream. It's Lucky. Okay, here we go. Go to yes. I'm gonna skip the keyboard. Okay, it says gonna connect you to a network. So here's a little trick here, guys. When you see this, and it's always nice to have one of these on hand. If you end up with this little problem, there's two ways to get around it. There's the easy way, which is basically using a USB-C network connection, and then that'll work no matter what when you basically get this. Sometimes it's too new, it doesn't have the driver. But I'm gonna show you a different way. So should you get into this, that if you have this problem, you don't feel like you're stuck. So we'll go to here, and you're gonna hit Shift F10, and then what you're gonna type, and I always try to remember this and then I forget, but I have a screenshot of it for this reason. You're gonna type here, you're gonna type OOBE/bypass NRO. And OOBE means out of box experience, and then bypass NRO is basically telling you it's bypassing the network. So we're gonna hit enter, oops, bypass.
Check your flash.
Did I do it right? OOB, oh, I did the wrong, sorry. I know what I did wrong. wrong slash. There we go. So you do, sorry, so / and then NRO. And then it'll reboot, and then we'll see this again. I do it so much, and it's funny, Icy Sniper, it's like one of those things, it's like, dude, I do this almost every, like a couple times a week, and I could still never remember the command. I can remember where front panel headers go, but this thing, it's like, I always know Ubi, because Ubi is out-of-box experience, but if I knew what if I knew what NRO meant, it would make it easier for me. Okay, so this restarts. We're gonna come back in. We're gonna hit yes. Yes. We're gonna hit skip. And then now you can see it now has the option for I don't have internet. So I'm gonna click on I don't have internet and then continue with limited setup. Sorry, the box is blocking it.
On a quick note, if you're trying to avoid doing a Microsoft account,
I'll show that.
unplug your Ethernet cable.
No, you don't have to do that either. I'll show you. I'll show you that trick. You do not need to do that. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna enter your name, but I would show you how to do it. There's actually a way to do that where you don't need a Microsoft account either. So you don't need to unplug your network cable. What you actually do is, and this is for you too, org, is hit no at thankyou.com and then put in whatever password you want, and then it'll error out and then allow you to just skip that, so you don't have to have that either.
I've done the fake login before, yes, but on the updated one, I had a problem giving me the prompt with the LAN cable plugged in.
Yeah, I've done this with all the latest ones and it hasn't been a problem. That is specifically a Windows bypass. That's why it errors out, but yeah. Yep, there's Zig PC talking about it too. Yeah, so that's what you do, is if you do that, do no at thankyou.com, put in whatever password you want, and it'll skip right through that. So PC Guy 8088, that's what we're talking about. When you do that with the MS account, when it says sign in is no at thankyou.com, put whatever password you want, and it'll basically say like, oh, I'm sorry, there's been a problem, and then you'll just be able to go through the simplified process. So that's how you get by it.
If somebody is actually using that account, it will go into a recovery mode.
No,
so just be careful with that.
That one is specifically that is owned by Microsoft. So that is made specifically so Microsoft developers can skip it. It's a test thing. It's a test account. So that shouldn't ever be a problem unless they plug the hole, but they don't. They still own it. Yep. No, it will not demand a Microsoft account. So now we are in Windows. So there's a couple steps. First thing we should get, and it depends on your motherboard. You want to wait a little bit, okay? You want to wait a few minutes. It may or may not work. In this case, waiting a few minutes. Now what I'm going to do is, if you have this problem, you would go and download the LAN, because sometimes you'll end up with a thing that says, hey, this is a new install, obviously something's wrong. This is why I always have one of these on hand. One of these network connection things on hand is so I can always have a network connection. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug this, plug this into here, and I'm gonna plug this into the USB-C, and now we'll have a network connection. And then here in a second, you actually see I have network. There we go. Okay, so now I can go to settings. I'm gonna go ahead, first thing I'm gonna do is run all my Windows updates. And then wait for that. And then I'm also gonna run these, which is also super important. And then we'll just wait. No, Windows 12 will absolutely work on a 7800 XDD. It'll work on old stuff too. I think that stuff's new enough that Windows 12 shouldn't have a problem with that. Device is it's a USB, just any USB-C Ethernet connector. So if you search for it, you'll find it. So we're just gonna wait for these, which shouldn't take too long. And then once this, let this finish too. And then here is what I was waiting for. The driver, so hit next. And then here, don't run Adobe, don't run Dropbox, run MSI, chipset, SVGA, run Intel. Each, you'll put in the universal, you put in the scoring accelerator, the I/O drivers, the ME drivers, get rid of Norton, get rid of CPU-Z, get rid of Ada, and get rid of MSI wallpaper. So those are the things that you're gonna wanna run, and hit install, and then that'll take care of all my driver things. Now sometimes that will pop, you need a network connection for that to pop up. So if that doesn't work, what you would do is go back to your support on your website and download your LAN driver via USB device, like what I did for my BIOS. And then that's how I would basically go about then connecting to the internet if you don't happen to have one of these adapters. So far, pretty clear. You guys understanding? Is it helping? Like you guys feel like you're learning? So we're just waiting. And this is always the fun part, guys. This is the other reason that I have a tendency not to do this on stream, is because it is boring. Pretty much boring. You're watching paint dry at this point in time. So you guys are seeing the whole end-to-end process here. And I wanted to do that because I knew this build itself is not going to take that long. Once we're done and we're then put this inside the case is actually going to go pretty quick. We're not putting cable extensions in. Like all we're going to do is take this and just pop it inside the case, and that's it. Put this over to the side for now. And thank you very much for all the subs, guys, all the support. I really wanted to make this, like I said, I'm making this a little bit lighter this week in terms of just giving you more content. We pushed so hard for the last 3 months to hit Partner Plus. You guys were amazing in your support, so I really appreciate you guys still subbing and doing all that stuff and hitting the goals. It just means that we can continue to do awesome giveaways like PCs and stuff like that, and at the same time, then just get back to doing what we love to do, which is make great content for you guys to see live. Kika, I actually really appreciate the OneDrive integration, especially so like we use OneDrive pretty heavily. I can understand if you're like big into the Google Drive or other ecosystems where that could be a pain, but like I feel like Microsoft's a little bit like Apple. Like if you're deep into the ecosystem, like the seamlessness of everything working together is actually really nice, but I could definitely see how that could be annoying. And the other thing too is it is absolutely worth updating all of your Windows stuff, because sometimes, especially if you're AMD, there are actually things that the Windows like Xbox Game Bar and stuff like that is needed and used for certain processing stuff, like knowing when something's a game or not, which can do things like part cores and actually tell 3D Vcache and the drivers to know what they're doing. They're essentially doing the chipset drivers. So please make sure that you do keep your Windows apps up to date too. Yeah, and that's the thing, Akika. It's like that's where I could see it be a problem. I don't use iCloud as much. I use OneDrive, and OneDrive actually feels to be more seamless on Apple and Android and stuff like that than iCloud was the other way, which is very Apple. You know what I mean? So we're waiting for the cumulative update to do. And then let this finish. There we go, the driver utility's done, yay. So now, what we want to do is load up MSI Center. Did it install? It did, okay. Okay, so this is the next part, is just getting, this part's important too, because this is where you're gonna go and get all your drivers. And then last thing I'm gonna do is grab Cinebench. Oops, unless I hit that button wrong. It's going too fast. Grab Cinebench. There we go. And this is how we're gonna test our thermals. Okay, so while this is doing its part, I'm gonna open up here, start without your data, continue and start browsing. I'm gonna go to dark. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to go and grab Nvidia drivers. So I'm gonna grab 40 series, 4080 Super, Windows 11, and game ready, because I'm obviously doing gaming. If you're gonna worry about content creation, then you're gonna wanna grab studio drivers. Okay, let those download. The other thing I'm gonna grab next is hardware info monitor from CPU ID. And this is so I can just test my thing. So I'm gonna hit download that. And then the last thing I'm gonna grab is MSI Afterburner. Okay, and then the other thing from there, I'm gonna grab Steam. Just gonna let it download. I'm not gonna install these yet. I'm just gonna make sure they're all downloaded. Extract this. Oh, dang it, I hate it when it does that. Okay, and then we're gonna go to start now. Skip. I'm gonna go to support, go to live update, and we're just gonna scan. This will just get us anything last that we need. Okay, well that's weird, it's not downloading, but okay, so it looks like everything here is good. I don't need anything else. Okay, so we're good. Okay, so we actually have all of our hardware is done. Close that, and then this is still installing. Okay, so that's all restarted. Okay, so what I can go ahead and do is once you want to make sure all your Windows stuff is updated and running, nothing's running. Next I can do is I can go ahead and install my GPU driver. Yeah, how are we doing on likes, guys? Now, it's up to you. If you want to, I would definitely recommend, I always do this for simplicity. If you're gonna worry about auto-updating, I would definitely recommend installing the GeForce Experience. But because this is I'm just simple and I don't wanna bother logging in, I'm just gonna install the driver. So that's a personal choice. Some people are fine with remembering to update your driver, but the one thing that's worth the GeForce Experience in and of itself is telling you when there's driver updates, which happen all the time. But it's a personal choice. Not everybody's into it. Some people remember on their own. There is no way you have to log in. That's unfortunately the problem, IC Sniper. So I have an account that is just for stuff like that. Okay, there we go. Driver's now updated, so we're done with that. Now I'm gonna install hardware info monitor. And then the last thing I'm gonna install after that is MSI Afterburner. I'm just anal with my buttons. I like to have everything lined up. Close that. Okay. And then once this is done, we're gonna restart, let it finish its restart process, and then we're gonna go into the BIOS and enable XMP, and then we'll run one thermal test just to make sure that thermally we're in good shape, because this might be something where I was wrong and we need to jump down to a 14.6. But if not, then we can keep moving forward and go from there. And that's why we want to do this when we're in bench state or breadboard state, either way, however you want to call it. Okay, installing Riva tuning statistics. Yes, I do. I have good internet speed. Xbox gaming, you can't use dual GPUs anymore. It's dead, so no reason. Bomber XTU is great if you want to tweak it. This will be, I mean, again, I'm going to be at the top edge of a 14.7 here, really building a simple, no frills gaming type rig right now. So if you wanted to do any overclocking, then I would upgrade to a 360mm AIO in this case, which this case would do, absolutely no problem. But given I'm going for simplicity and easiness, then we're doing a really nice box cooler with the AF115 or the AF115. All right, so we got that done. So we'll hit finish. So now we have everything ready. The system is actually in pretty good shape. We're gonna reboot, let it update, and then see what else we have. We're gonna let this update cycle once, check Windows Update to make sure that we're all up to date, and then if that's good, we'll go ahead and do we'll reboot and put in XMP, and then once XMP is enabled, we'll do a thermal test. An AK620 would not be. You can do it, you could theoretically, we're gonna find out here pretty quick, you could theoretically do it with an Assassin. But an AK620 you would need to use on like a 14.6. .7 is pretty warm, yeah. An i5 6400 and a GTX 720 is a little bit outdated at this point, yes. I would say. $7800X3D would be okay. $7800X3D should be okay on an AK620. It will be warm, but it'll be okay. Gaming, you'll be fine. And I'll understand, a gaming on an AK620 with a 14.7 will be fine too. It's just, if you're gonna push beyond that, it'll still be warmer. Gaming is not, especially if you're paying 1440p or 4K, you're not gonna be over pushing those coolers. It's only when you're doing Cinebench and stuff like that, or if you're gonna do any rendering, that you're gonna have a problem. So the thing is that what tolerance you have is completely dependent on you. Like, you could go in there and people will be like, I can't believe you're running a 14.7 on an AK620. You're like, I only game on it. And it'd be like, oh, then you're gonna have like high 80s in gaming. That's fine. You know what I mean? So. 7800X3D is kind of the same way, but 7800X3D, a 14.7 has a 35,000 Cinebench score. 7800X3D is in the 23,000 Cinebench range. So you can see from a productivity standpoint, there's a big difference. 7800X3D is like a 60, 70, 80 watt, 83 watts, right? Org, is that right? 83 watts on max versus 250 watts on a 4070, a 14700. So a lot higher cooling needed for a 14.7.
Well, the AM5 boosts so much, they just use less power in general.
Yeah. i5 13.6 is great with a 4070 Super. Yeah, you're going to be fine with that. You might see some stuff at 1080p, but at 1440p or 4K, well, not your 1440p, which is where you should be playing at that combination, you're going to be fine. Guys, head over to youtube.com/Robeytech Live. Hit that thumbs up button. There's 500 people here. More than enough to hit 250 likes. Remember, we unlock another $25 Newegg gift card. We're just updating.
It says 120 on the spec sheet, but it barely pulls 85 watts when you do any kind of benching.
Yeah, we've like you could go back and watch many of our streams because we always bench and show that stuff. And we're usually seeing 80, 90 watts, even when Cinebench. 10700K and 4070. I mean, you're on the low end. I mean, honestly, you're only using 50% of a 10700. You are bottlenecking it a bit, but it's not that bad, Pooh. Not enough. Like, here's the thing: if you are playing your games and you're happy, then you're fine, Pooh. If you're not and you feel like it's stuttering, then your CPU might be causing problems. That's the thing, is upgrading isn't something where somebody can give you an end-all be-all. There is no one-size-fits-all. Is something not working well, then you might look at upgrading. And in this case, I would upgrade your CPU. But if it's all fine and you're happy and you're getting great frames and you're content, then there's no reason to upgrade. That's a great combination. Ace 2, again, same question. It depends on what you're doing with it. If you're planning on playing Cyberpunk 2077 on a 6700K and a 1080, that would be pretty hard. Okay, so it's still just doing its updates, guys. This is always the fun part of watching. Windows install. So thank you very much for all of you guys for tuning in. Head on over, hit that like button, guys, while you have the time. Okay, so now we're in here. Let's make sure that we're all up to date. The only thing we got to test is our settings here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my second connection, which is I'm just going to go into I'm going to get out of this. So I'm going to disconnect so what I've done is I've disconnected my network adapter. I'm plugging this now directly in, and I'm grabbing my second monitor and plugging this in via DisplayPort. You don't have to do this. This is just so I want to let you guys see what I'm walking through all the time. Okay, now we're back into capture. Just gonna go to display real quick and extend or duplicate. Keep. I'm gonna change this to 1440p, and I'm going to change this to 150. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we got we're all like, we're like into things are looking good. So we're going to run here. Let's grab Steam. Install it. So we'll have a limited number of benching today just because we have to limit to what's on Steam. Unfortunately, it's the only one that lets you transfer libraries, which is cool. Okay, so now we're going to go to Steam, Settings, Library, or Download, or sorry, Storage, Add a Drive, D, And then we're gonna go to here, make default. There we go. Then we're gonna see it's got a couple games to download real quick. I'm gonna go so I don't ruin this. Downloads, limit download speed. There we go, just to make sure that you guys don't, okay. Not that it's like a big deal, but we only have a little bit to download. Okay, there we go. Okay, so all our games are downloaded now. Let's just check to make sure that we're good here. We might need one more update. Okay, so all our games are ready. Nice little reboot. Cool. There we go, guys. We are good to go. Now the question is, try this one more time. Okay, we're all good. Boom. Okay, so that's all done. That's all done. That's all done. That's all done. Okay, now here's the question. Is this gonna run okay? So we're gonna run Cinebench. And this is in a bench situation, so, okay, right now our temps are sitting at 72. Which is actually pretty warm. Wow, got up to 95 there. Look at the power though. Why is it so... I'm gonna make sure, let's see what we are doing here. We have 20% here. There's not a whole lot going on. Okay, so this I might have a seating problem. And this is why we do everything outside of a bench. So we're gonna go ahead and run File, Advanced, 10 minutes, Start. Oh, we got to 100 right away. Oh my gosh. Hold on, the fans aren't spinning at all. I'm like getting no fans. It's just like, oh wow, okay, see? You can see, look, it's not spinning. So it's just been like passively cooling. What is going on there? Okay, so let's shut this down. It's just been passively cooling. The fans aren't doing anything. So something is going on here. Oh yeah, I didn't plug the fan in all the way. That wouldn't help. Ooh, those are hot. Okay, we're gonna shut this off for a second. No, those are definitely hot. Just make sure all our connections are good. Yeah, everything's fine. Just make sure everything's plugged in. Wow, I really had all of that like just running there. I'm gonna take these zip ties out actually. What camera are we on right now? Okay, side, okay. I can't believe that there was like no fans running. That's pretty, I was like, dude, that thing, it was just passively cooling it fine. Keeping it at 71 with all of that stuff going, pretty dang good, cooler. Wonder how much better it'll be with fans. Okay, so we've just disconnected everything. I'm just gonna make sure that we're getting it at fans going this time. And I'm just gonna run this separately. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. Hey, look, it's spinning now. I can't believe we didn't notice that, guys. Okay, going to delete, gotta put in our XMP now. I was like, dang, dude. I was like looking, I was like, I don't understand. And then I looked, I was like, there's no power. Okay, we're gonna put on XMP now. So we've turned on XMP. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna actually, never mind, I'm gonna turn that off. Hit F10. Okay, and I'm gonna disconnect this so you guys can see it this time. I want you guys to be able to see everything. Yeah, guys, there's no video right now because I'm rebooting. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna turn on XMP. And there we go. Okay, so now XMP's on. Now we should be able to see how this thing actually cools. Yeah, we're spinning now. It's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, we're back in now. We have Windows installed. We have troubleshooted a problem, like making sure that the yeah, I see. This is why you do all this stuff outside, right? Like we now know what's going on. Okay, so we're jumping back in. Okay, let's try this again. That's funny. That was funny. Let's check our task manager. Oops, task manager. Check our RAM here. We're at 6,000 megahertz and we have 2 of 4 DIMMs, so we're good there. Okay, let's open this up in Cinebench. So our temperature is now in the 40s. That seems much better. We're not running all that fast yet. Let's go to 10 minutes, multi-core, and give it a go. Look at that. Look at that. Org, are you seeing it?
Yep.
82. You could even play with this a little bit. You've got a little bit of headroom there. It's probably going to get a little bit. And then look at this. I'm going to see how below it is. It's at 34. So it's within 400 points of average for a 14.7. Oh, Bomber, when we get this inside of the case, you'll hear nothing. And I mean, I got to admit, man, you're hearing the air cooler is running. It is not loud. It's keeping that Cinebench score there. Yeah, guys, this is going to be no problem. This is going to be great. You're going to be able to run this without much of an issue. Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, of course, we're going to test this inside the case, but we have great fans inside this case. So again, this gives me an idea. Do I feel good about putting this inside of the case? Do I feel good about what I've seen from a testing standpoint? You know, am I ready at this point, given everything that I've seen? Am I ready to basically take that next step and go into the case? I would say at this point in time, absolutely. I think based on what we, hold on one sec. I'm gonna run that one more time just to show. So based on going in here, throwing Cinebench on here, and then running this at 10 minutes and then hitting start, that if you looked at this and your temperatures are like this, right? When it's running at this, with this speed and everything like that, you are absolutely in a great shape. You could say, hey, where I'm at now is that I have built the PC, I've benchmarked, I know my PSU, my GPU, my cooler works, the temps are gonna be fine, so I don't have any need to pack anything up. At this point in time, I would say, yes, I am okay to pass on and move on to basically begin the process of putting this inside of the case and making sure that this is now going to run inside the case. But I know all my components work and we're good to go. So it's funny because Nasty Yoda's like, hey, CPU running at 240 watts is ridiculous. Intel needs to fix their efficiency issues. Totally agree. I'm not saying that they are on plus. But again, when you think about the efficiency between this and an AMD, it's essentially the total cost to you and your bank account is about, what, $12? Isn't that what they said? 12 bucks? When you're talking about a 100-watt difference between a 7800X 3D and a 14700K, and that's rendering. At gaming, neither one of these are pushing anywhere near that wattage. So I just want to be super clear. I'm not saying that you're not wrong. I'm just saying that I need to put it in perspective of what this actually means to a user and that sort of stuff. So just want to make sure that that's tenable. You know what I mean? So going from there. Yeah, exactly. I see Sniper's right. What you're saving on natural heat, you can now use this for. All right, cool. So we're good there. Let's go ahead and shut it down. We've got everything set up. There's a couple things off to do in MSI Afterburner, but we got games and everything. We've now progressed this to the point, guys, that we can move forward and actually build the PC. So yay, now we've got all this stuff done. Now I'm gonna show you the process afterwards where we got it all going in there and good for that. So one thing I'm gonna do is make sure this is all the way run down, power off and unplug it. And all we're gonna do is, we're not gonna take the entire build apart. We're just gonna take apart we're just gonna take out the GPU and we're gonna take out the power connection. So I'm gonna disconnect from up here. I'm gonna disconnect my graphics stuff. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect my network. I'm going to disconnect my mouse and my keyboard. Those bananas are for measuring, and again, if you want to just know, there you go. That is the build versus a banana. There we go. Now, the next stop, once we kind of have our peripherals out of the way and we're good from there, just want to go back to a place where our system is ready for the next step. So we're going to move all this back to the middle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect our power from our MOBO. From our GPU, disconnect our power from our motherboard, 12 pin or 24 pin. Then we're also going to come back here and disconnect it from our. Okay, so there's our, and we can keep this together. There's no reason to take this apart now. So we're just going to keep it and set it off to the side. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to reach in here and just push that button. There's a little button right here, and I'll show it to you after I take it out. So right here on the motherboard is a little button. So it's the clip. And what I'm doing with my finger is pushing it down so it unclicks, and then that allows me to remove the GPU. So that's what I did, is I took out the GPU, and then this is the state I essentially want the motherboard in. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go fix our thing back here. Okay, now we can start the process, guys, of zip ties. So we can do the zip tie count now, Blondie. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm literally just gonna get this all bunched up. Grab a single zip tie right now. So the banana is 7.5 inches if you wanna know like the banana's girth in terms of length and stuff like that, 7.5 inches. So we've got that zip tied up now. We're gonna remove our fan. We're gonna put this basically in this little slot down here. Like I was doing before. Slide it back down. And then as I close it, there we go. Okay, so now our cable management is done and we're good for here. So now what we can do is we can take our Mobo, take it off of the box. We're officially ready for the box to go away. And we're on to the next part of the build finally, guys. Thank you very much, Beast Bison D and Trolls Rock for the sub. So we're gonna grab our case now. Now, reason that I chose this case, which I'm okay with for this build, is that we still have temperature and everything else that'll be on the outside, but this is a no frills case. There's no tempered glass. This is a simple case, but it's high performance. It's quiet and it's high performance. We have high performance fans, we have high performance everything. So it'll work really well for the build that we're doing as an airflow build. So we're gonna remove this. The other thing too, it's also incredibly quiet. So we actually have insulation to keep it quiet, but it's still got plenty of high powered airflow fans. So here we go. We're gonna go to the other side here. Go to the side camera. Go and grab this. There we go. Very easy to take off. It feels super. Very premium in terms of that. Okay, so then what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna pull that off, pull these off. Not that I need to get to that, but it's a little easier if we do it this way. Just to make it light. Same thing with the front. Ooh, ow, that hurt. Okay, so now our case is lighter. And we're good there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna literally untwisty tie this. The case is valuable, is it? How we doing likes on YouTube, guys? Okay, then we're just gonna run this up and over. Makes it easy. And then I'm gonna take off this one magnetic just to make sure it's easier to kind of move around. And we're gonna lay it down. All of our fans and everything are already installed. Okay, go to top down. Just for reference, because I know Kiltman wants to know. That's how big a banana is in this case. The case in terms of size to fit components in is a little bigger than 2 bananas. So you have 2 bananas that you could put in here if you wanted to. And then, if like you wanted to fill it with, if you were just worried, you're like, oh, I wanted to have like a place, like a hidden place to hide all my bananas. They're 7.5 inches. I just need to put more bananas in here. Like if there's like a banana hiding or banana smuggling operation that you might be looking into. You're like, hey, how many bananas can we get in here? In case I wanted to use this build to just hold bananas. Yeah, we can give you some of that idea that, if you're looking into banana smuggling, there's some options here for you. This may be a potential case for good banana smuggling. So yeah, there you go. So you can put that many banana. Oh, I threw it through. And then just be careful when throwing your bananas because they can go over and through the case. So hopefully that was a helpful metric for the banana stuff. So, okay, so there we go. There's your case bananas information. All right, so let's take our Mobo now. A little bit of trickery there as we keep the rear fan cable from, there we go. It actually looks really clean in there. There we go. Grab our accessories now. Whoops. You're right, it's 7.25 inches. Sorry, that was an accident. My banana's not growing. It is at peak length. It is at ripened state. There is no growing bananas. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know how much the bananas were. The bananas were a gift. Okay, let's get our motherboard in. It's funny, people were talking about the yellow. I don't feel like it's like too obnoxious, I'll be honest. Is that it? There we go. Yeah, it seems like once you get it in the build, it's pretty minor. I mean, at least it seems that way to me. I mean, you're looking at it, I don't know if it really pops all that much. It seems pretty mild. I don't know, it's opinion. The good thing is we're showing it in like an all black build right now, so you can make the call of like whether you feel like it's that obtrusive. But it does match the bananas, right? That is a good point. I mean, if you throw a banana in your build, I think it makes the yellow pop more. How we doing likes on YouTube? Logo banana? Would you guys be down for a logo banana? Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Uh-oh. I did it, guys. It's stuck in there. I'm going to have to, like... It's like the worst when a screw gets in there. There we go. Yeah. I need to figure out, like, I wonder how many bananas we'd have to test volume of every case. I got it. I found it. Everything's fine. We're all okay. Everything's okay. Nothing to see here. How are you? Zoltar is like, dang it. I had one job. This is my moment. Oh, dude, that fan barely fits in this case. I was like, if it went any higher, I don't think you could do high profile RAM with that. Like, it would not, I don't know if the front would close. There we go. It fits. It fits. Yeah, it does. We're good on this one. Okay, guys. So, like, there is the build inside. We're good. Now we can go ahead and hook up our front panel connectors and all that sort of stuff. There we go. Okay, they did give me a splitter, which is very great. I'm very grateful for. I was like, you better give me a splitter. Okay, so let's now route all of our front panel connections. Okay, so first one, we have our fan, our rear fan. We're just gonna run that right here. Okay, so there's our rear fan. Let's grab our case thing here. Okay, let's go to roaming here. Let's see what we got here in the back here. So we've got a number of cables here. Nice, I have to say, these are really nice screw things. Okay, so here we go. So it looks like our fans are all separated, okay? So luckily, thank you, Antec, they did give us a 3-1 splitter, which is nice. So we're gonna go ahead and take these 3 fans, we're gonna plug them into here. And then here's our length. We have not a lot of length. So let's see what we have in terms of fan header. Okay, so we can actually run this up here. Yeah, this might be the best. Yeah, we'll run this up here too. So we're gonna run this up to the top slot. That's gonna come out right up here where we ran our rear fan. Okay, whoops, it stays. Okay, so there's that. Next up, thank you for the zip ties, Antec. Okay, next up we have our twisty tie. Undo this. Okay, so we have a single, this looks like a beautiful thing right here, single front panel header, which I like. So we have a single front panel header, which makes this easy. So we're just gonna run that right in here. And it's gonna come right up, right here. It's gonna come out right there. So down at the bottom slot right there. Okay, out of the right rubber grommet. Okay, we're now gonna take our USB-C and our USB 3.2 connection right here. And we're gonna run them to this slot right here. Just have it pop right through. So they're gonna come out right here. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our HD audio connection, and that's gonna go all the way in the far rubber grommet over here. They're just gonna go to the side here and then pull that through. And then now we have all of our front panel cables run and we're good to go. Okay, so let's go to top down and get all these connected and beautiful looking. And you can see why I chose this, because it's just a very, very straightforward, easy build. So let's start up at the top. We're gonna take this right here, which is this is our exhaust, our rear fan, and we're just gonna plug that in right next to the CPU cable. There we go, perfect. And then we're gonna take this connection, run those all the way down, and we're gonna plug this into system fan right here. Okay, so there's all of our fans hooked up. So make those are nice and tight. Then we're gonna take our USB 3.2. We're gonna connect this right here. And we're gonna take our USB-C, connect it right there. Make them nice and tight and small. I'm gonna grab one zip tie and zip tie this right here. There we go. Push that down. One on the other side of the rubber grommet. Not you'll be able to see it because there's no tempered glass, but I still want the front to look good. Okay, so there's that. Now over here, really, really straightforward. We're gonna take our front panel connection. There's a front panel header right here. It's one header, so it makes it really easy. We're gonna take this HD audio. We're gonna run it right over here. There you go, guys. All of our connections are plugged in. They look nice and neat, clean. Now the big thing is just making sure they're really tight on the other side. Not that you'll be able to see them because the case has no tempered glass, but for me it's all about if you decided maybe you wanted to buy a tempered glass panel from Antec or whatever it was, you could and still display your components. Ugh. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the other side here. And now it's time to just make this look nice. So it looks like we can do this, and then that's gonna be easy to fix. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect this right here. You guys having fun still? It does, Araxnus, and this is the silent version. But yes, you could get the T1, and then you could follow along if you decided you still wanted to just have it, you wanted to share your components, you absolutely could, and it will look good. So I wanna make sure it still looks good.
Robey is already past it, but one of the things you should check is the standoffs on the case.
Oh, that's a good call.
Sometimes boards don't always have a screw go in the middle or etc. every single location, and an extra standoff could make contact with components on the board and cause a short.
Which
So
in this
that's why
case,
you're
we're
testing
fine.
it outside the case
Yep.
first. Because if it malfunctions inside the case, well, that's when you have to continue troubleshooting, and standoffs are often one of the reasons.
Yep, which is a good call. In this case, we'll know, right, when we test it, but the question is, will it post? And then that could be one of the reasons it wouldn't post. It's a good call. There we go. I would say, like somebody was asking, is that something that happens very frequently nowadays? It's not as frequent. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still something absolutely worth checking. All these little things are just gonna add up to being more successful with the PCU build, right? Like it's little things that you can do that are just gonna save you heartache at the beginning. Okay. There we go. There we go. Just need a couple more, nothing too crazy, but enough to just really kind of make sure that we have a solid job here. 208 to 250, guys. Let's finish out those likes on YouTube. There we go. Okay, now let's cut these. Okay, now what we're just gonna do is we're just gonna zip tie this to the edge here. So you guys can just see this. We're gonna zip tie these down. This is kind of like the last of the little cable management I'm gonna have to do. The one thing that's really nice about builds like this is just how simplistic everything is gonna be comparatively to some of the other builds you see me do. Yeah, this will be very OCD friendly. And we don't have cable extensions either, so. And that's one of the reasons I chose the couple things. I chose the power supply I chose, right? Because of the cables that already come with it. And then B, also just because of how easy those are to even cable management once we're done. And there's no SATA, there's nothing. I mean, it's a minimal number of cables for this build too. I just wanted something that was simple for you guys to be able to follow along with. No, Turdog, I wanted to give something that was like, if somebody wanted just a simple build. We don't do this very often. Just wanted something that was like clean, easy, done, you know what I mean? I need to be actually really careful, actually, hold on. Ugh. Realize something. I'm actually gonna change one thing, guys. Up here at the top, I'm gonna disconnect this connection right here. This is for this rear exhaust fan. What I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna run it down, and I'll show you. I'm gonna run it down here and down to the other header that's down here. It'll make for a cleaner build experience. Okay. Take some little tweezers and a little, where is mine? There it is. And I'm gonna just grab this, ooh, ow. And then pull that, ooh. There we go. So pull that out, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, plug that right there. Okay, so that makes that clean. Then what I can do now is tuck the rest of this cable. And then now that you can't see that cable, it's completely hidden. So what I did is I just ran that and I tucked the cable, and then now that even makes less cabling here on the back as well. There we go. There we go. Okay. So there is the build as it sees, as it sits right now. We still have the, oh, one note, don't over push these. There we go. Now this will still get hidden, but I'm just doing this just to, oh no. There we go, oops. There we go. Okay, so that's how it would look right now. So build is pretty dang clean. Next stop, guys, is let's go ahead and put our GPU in, and then we'll install our PSU. Pretty plain looking build, as you can see. Still very clean looking. There it is. One more, 3. Apparently this one is trapped underneath this one. Wow. They're like, you're not getting this out unless you take this out. Okay, wow, that's really locked in there. They're like, that is not coming out. Okay, let's grab our GPU. Looks really good in there. Need 22 more likes on YouTube, guys, to give that away. 5 more subs to give away a $50 Newegg gift card. Okay, guys, there is that. Okay, so builds in, GPU's in. Now we just got to put in our PSU, which all we got to do is grab over here. There's our PSU tray, or PSU slot thing. Okay. DMAT taking it closer. Okay, so here's our PSU. Already ready. We just need to grab our screws. There they are. Need 4. Okay, let's grab our screwdriver here. We want this way. I guess we want it this way. Okay, getting that in there. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put one screw, just not tighten it all the way, just one screw in each slot, but don't tighten them down. Main reason is you want to just make sure all the screws will be in the right spot. If you over tighten it, you'll find out that sometimes you'll have a hard time getting all the screws in. There we go. And once you have all the screws in, actually feel free to tighten it all the way down. There we go. All right, now, let's just run this through. We're gonna take our cables, just run them into the slot in the back. And then we're gonna take our screws There we go. There we go. Now our PSU's in. Tighten it down. Okay, guys. Last part. So there is our 16 pin, which we're going to run top down. We're going to run it right out of the bottom here, just down like that. Really not a lot to plug in here. Okay, this is kind of twisted in here, so I'm going to fix this. Just going to make sure it's not braided or... There it is. Okay, so that's going to go up here into this little slot right here. Okay, there's that. And then this one is going to go right here. Okay, so there's all our cables. They're all run to the right place. Flip it over. Okay, so we're going to grab our GPU, a motherboard. I'm going to try and keep this a little cleaner. Since I don't have cable combs per se, what you can do, just given how thin these are, is we can use zip ties to just give it some conformity. So you still have a clean looking cable group. There we go. So that's a nice clean looking cable group. This one, just gonna run this right here. And then we're gonna run all the extra cable down. I think this is twisted a little bit. Okay, same kind of deal. Which means you don't necessarily need cable combs. You can kind of create your own. You just want to make sure they're evenly spaced there. In terms of length, just trying to figure out where your best length is there. More at the bottom. There we go. Okay, then last cable is our 24 or 12 or sorry, CPU. Goes right up here in the top corner. Left or right, either one. We'll do one kind of zip tie to clean this one up too.
If you were planning on installing any additional top fans, try to plug in your EPS first or it will be more difficult.
Yeah, we don't need any for this build for sure, but yes. I was, again, simplicity, but yes, it's a good call. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and clear all these so that way you can't really see. You just wanna twist these under so they're not they're hidden. There we go. Twist them under. So it just looks like there's a cable thing there, nothing you can see. Same thing with this one. There we go. One more, guys, and then the build is done. Oh no, it's not. I gotta plug it in at the back. There we go. All right. Okay, there is our build from the front, which, I mean, even without cable ties, still looks nice and clean. If you were to open this up and see this build without all of the stuff inside of it, you would still be like, wow, that's a really clean looking build, which is kind of the point, right? So again, just making it look nice even without cable combs, and saving you some money, because all you're doing is, yeah, the default ones on the ASUS PSUs, for the price, and I mean, they're not that much more expensive, and honestly, for the cables you get, very, very cable manager friendly. All right, so now let's go to the other side. Let's finish this off, just to finish this build. Yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of ASUS PSUs. There we go. Kind of put away my zip ties too soon. There you go. There we go. Okay, that takes care of that. Again, still keeps it nice and clean. Couple more zip ties, guys, we're done. Just to keep this clean. There we go. Okay, let's just get this done. Okay, just gonna take a couple of zip ties just to make this look a little bit prettier. Then we are finished. These are aesthetic zip ties, no real purpose. They're just literally to make the build look better. What's up, PC guy? How are you? There we go. Okay, there we go, guys. Build done. If you want to skip this part, you can. In terms of cables, you don't have to do it. Yeah, Mawa, or you can use a thinner. You can use a one of the easy DIY. Those have a tendency to do a really good job too, and giving you room. Okay, guys, so there's the cable management for the build. Looks pretty clean, right? Even the bottom looks really clean and out of the way. So, and then the front of our build also looks good. Ugh. Okay, there we go, guys. The full build. It's all black and clean, but yeah, there's again, we're gonna hide it all. But again, you still have something that looks, and if you wanted to do the tempered glass, you could. But I mean, we'll just go like this and you can see there's your cleanliness of your build. Just a very, very smoked out, all black build with no cable management. I mean, no cables, cable combs, no cable extensions. Just very simple that we got built in. I mean, dude, it's 645 and we benched it. We put an OS on it. We BIOS updated it. All that stuff live on stream. There we go. Throw our top on. Now there will be, the only light you'll see in this will be the only light you'll see in it will be just the GPU light. Okay, so we're just gonna pop this in now. Okay, so before we turn it on, you gotta do one more time. Will it post? Did we find some mistake? Did we do something? We're gonna do our zip tie count. We're gonna go through our sponsor real quick. And then we're gonna turn it on and talk about deals too. So just in case you're curious, how big how big the case is versus a banana. There you go. That's it versus a banana. And then if you want to see, does a banana fit inside of the case? There's a banana in the case. So there you go. So you have no banana questions. I have answered all banana questions. The TD, I don't know what does anybody know what the heat absorption is for a banana? Okay, so let's do zip tie count, which you guys will probably be surprised, but I mean, zip tie count is high for a couple reasons. One, I needed to substitute cable extensions, so I did it with zip ties a little bit. Okay, so what was our zip tie count? Odd or even is the question. Ugh, it's still hefty. Okay, here we go. Zip tie count. Odd or even. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25. 26. 26 zip ties, guys. It is even today. 26 zip ties in this smoked out build. All right, let's take a look at our sponsor today, and then our deals, and then we'll turn it on and just check what thermal differences were, are, is, am, was, been, being. If anybody knows what that is, it's an English joke. Okay. Let's take a seat here. Ooh. Is, am, are, was, were, been, being. Throw the banana in, they say. I have not done the 903 Max, but Cape, I will request it from Montech so we can check it out. Always down to do new cases. Okay, so you get finished with a build like this and you're like, hey, well, I want to put Windows. You saw what you saw today during the stream, how to install Windows and all that sort of stuff. But if I want to install Windows, you can head over to VIP/CDKdeals.com, because if you were going to buy it at like Newegg or even at Best Buy, it'd be $107 for a copy of Windows 7 Pro or Windows 11 Pro. But here at VIP/CDKdeals.com, you can pick it up for $23.65. But if you click on the icon and you hit Buy Now, and you use code RBCK at checkout, RBCK, hit apply, what was $23.65 drops all the way down to $16.55. Now, these all are OEM. They only work with the build that you built. They don't transfer between builds, and if you change hardware to a certain degree, you will have to buy a second code, but for the most part, they have great customer service. We've had thousands and thousands and thousands of people who've used these codes before, and if you have questions, you can just ask right here in chat. Also, if you want to pick up a copy of Office, if you don't want to play for Office 365, here's Office 2019. Regular, this would be $250, almost $300, but if you buy it here, it's $67.18. But same thing, guys, RBCK at checkout. Hit apply. What was $67.18 drops all the way down to $47.03. So that is it, VIP/CDKdeals.com. If you have questions, you can obviously ask in chat. You'll seeing it pop up a ton of times here on the, So it depends. Ours seems to be motherboard only. Yeah, outside of that, it seems to be pretty good. It's not saying if you switch out an NVMe or GPU or anything like that, it'll be a problem. But if you have questions, you can always ask right here in chat. We have tons of people, again, have used them. And then again, they have great customer service as well. Just remember, VIP/CDKdeals.com. Use code RBCK at checkout. Okay, last thing I want to tell you guys about, Robeytech.com. A lot of people don't know that we actually have our own website with awesome things like, and I'll show you some of that stuff. For instance, if you wanted to have a commission built like LOD does or other people do, you can head over to Robeytech.com, just hit email Robeytech, and then you can also find here for all the affiliate links if you want to help us when you're buying hardware. This is a great place to go before you click. Just click on the link and then we'll get a little commission for anything that you buy. Other thing worth checking out is Insider, Robeytech.com/insider. This is a great place to get all of the content and all of the builds and everything that we've done over the course of the week, as well as giveaways. For instance, we're running the Cyberpunk giveaway right now. So if you want to find out what PCs we're giving away or what's coming up in the schedule, head over to Robeytech.com/insider for that. We also have all of our builds here. For instance, here's the Antec 1 Performance Silent build that you just saw, as well as a video, so you can literally find the parts and then follow along with the build step by step. It's a great resource, and then again, we get affiliate links for all this stuff, but it's a great place if you're like, ooh, what was that build he built? You can find all of that stuff right here. Great place to just find our builds as well as links for all the parts. Under resources, and this is a new thing, we have things like our GPU drivers, minimum PSU requirements, and then even stuff like how to install Windows, so a step-by-step guide. So if you're ever curious or want to know how to do it, you can head over to Robeytech.com/resources or and then get that information. But last thing, deals. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, stream deals. KYY portable monitor, 15.6-inch 1080p full HD USB-C monitor. On sale $115.99. So if you want basically a nice productivity monitor that doubles your productivity when using a laptop, these are great. We've used a number of them. All of them are actually pretty straightforward, especially the $100 ones, if you're just using them as a secondary monitor. Phanteks Eclipse G360A, love this case. Tempered glass ATX mid-tower, 360mm AIO support at the top and in the front, on sale for $59. So if you want a beautiful all-white build, it's got a great RGB band too. Corsair Nightsaber wireless RGB gaming mouse with Slipstream, which I really like Slipstream. Back $30 off, making it $139.99, and you get lots of RGB. I know a lot of people like the Nightsaber mouses. Deepcool AK620 Zero Dark, another great AIO. Really like this one, and usually very inexpensive and performs very well. It's $59.99. Wow, that's a great price for that CPU. And if you want to know how that stacks up, head over to our air cooler. We have an air cooler Olympics that shows you how it stacks up versus air coolers like the A115 we're showing here. This one's crazy. Sapphire Pulse RX 7900 XT on sale $699.99. That is a bonkers price for a 7900 XT. So if you're looking for a great GPU, that is a crazy good price for that GPU. And then finally, the Corsair K65 Mini 60% mechanical keyboard, $40 off, making it $69.99. So anyway, guys, my favorite ones are honestly these three right here. The cooler, that case, and then that GPU. Those are all great prices and great performing products for really good prices. So if you're looking to pick up a GPU or case, or looking for a new case for your build, or even an air cooler, and you could do a AK620 with a 14.6 or a 7800X 3D and throw in that 7900 XT, and you would have a killer build right there. So anyway, guys, that is it for deals. Everybody say thank you, Tom. Good job, Tom. You're amazing, sir. Okay, so we're gonna pull this through here. Now the big question is, does it post? I'm gonna take the banana out because I don't want to fry it. Don't want to fry a banana. Okay, so now we're gonna plug in all of our cables. So PSU, GPU, LAN, and GPU. And we'll throw this in there. Throw that in there. That out of the way, let's grab our mouse and our keyboard. I was going to, yeah, if we could. I thought you were gonna run. I asked you to run one. It's too late now. Don't worry about it now, Blondie, because I don't want to hold it for that long. It's all good. Okay, here we go, guys. It's gonna be pretty dark inside, but I will. We'll go to side camera here. Side there. Lift it back a little bit. It is on. And then 3, 2, 1. There it goes. That's it. That's the only light. That's all there is. It is already posted. We're gonna hit delete in a. Did I miss it? I did. Oh no, maybe I didn't. All right, one thing I am gonna do, real quick, guys. Let's go to easy mode. I want to go to fan info, and then we're gonna go to our system fans. System fan 1. Okay, we're gonna go into our fan curve here. We're gonna put smart fan mode, and we're gonna put it at PWM. And then system fan 6, smart mode, PWM. Okay, so just to make it quieter, so that takes care of that. CPU pump's fine, everything else is good. I just wanna make sure those fans are set up correctly. Okay, so that's everything. XMP's installed, everything there. We're gonna hit good, and we're gonna go from there. Okay, so our build is now ready. I have to say, man, it looks really good. I mean, we're gonna put the cover on it and completely block it, but in terms of cleanliness, this build looks really, really nice. All across the board, if you were to get this from like an SI or anybody else, you'd be like, I am very happy with just how smoked out this is. And honestly, that Founders Edition GPU looks really good in there. But we're gonna test the thermals and stuff here in just a few minutes. Okay, let's throw in our other cable here. Okay, so we have everything in now. Okay, let's go ahead and put in our cover, because remember, we are not, this is a just build it and go. Still made it look pretty in case you decided you did want to put in the tempered glass, but this is the silent, just performance build. Okay, there we go. So there is nothing inside of this now. And that's how it looks. So let's open up our CPU ID in Cinebench. How much warm it runs. Right now, look at that idle temp, 34 degrees. So that's great. Let's go to 10-minute duration and $10-minute duration and start. Remember, this is an air cooler. And I'm not surprised to see the temps actually lower because the cooler is getting direct fed. Look at that. We actually gained almost 600 points compared to when we were running it as a bench. But right now the CPU is getting direct, the air cooler is getting direct airflow. So we're actually seeing better temps than what we were seeing when it was outside because of the air that is being fed. Right now it's sitting at 80. It's sitting at 80 degrees. Remember, it was sitting at 82 and higher. And look at that Cinebench score. I mean, this thing is just doing a great job of just feeding it. What do you think of that, Org? And listen how, I mean, it's you can hear it, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. If this was underneath a desk or something like that, you would not be able to hear it. Apparently some PC can, I don't know how you would do that. I mean, again, thermal paste is a pretty important part of the whole cooling process there for sure. No, he must have left. It's all good. Yeah, 7800X3D, well, yeah, you can get to 90. At 90, it's 91 for a 7800X3D. And then for an Intel, an i7, it'll be 99. Yes, Org is right. But I mean, like, putting paste on is pretty easy. And cleaning up. Okay, guys, so there it is, 82 degrees. I don't think we're gonna have any problem here. Let's test gaming real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and open MSI Afterburner, set this up. When it's not under load, it's actually very quiet too. Okay, so let's go to monitoring. We're gonna do GPU temperature 1. There we go. We want GPU usage. We want vid usage. We want memory usage. We want core clock. We want memory. I don't know if we care about that. And then that's it for that. Now CPU temperature. There we go. CPU usage. CPU clock. CPU power. CPU power! And then we'll change frame rate. And then we'll change frame time to text and graph. Okay, there we go. Everything's set now. Let's just hold on real quick. We can go down a little bit. Okay, cool. Okay, let's start with a banger. Start with some Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, dang it. Library. Do not show ready played streamable games. Okay, there we go. So you go to frame time, and then you change it from on the right. You'll see an option that says MAU. It changes text to text and graph. Okay, gonna go to play. Okay, hitting allow. And by the way, we have new parts lists, so I'm gonna fix that real quick. So I can show you guys what parts are inside of it. So again, just to remind you, what we're running in here is not this one. There it is. Core i7 14700K, MSI MAG Z790 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. We have an Nvidia GeForce RTX 4080 Super. We're using Kingston Renegade 1TB and a 2TB NVMe storage. We've got Kingston Fury B 6000 Mega Transfer, 32 gigs at DDR5. We have the Antex Performance 1 Silent, the Corsair A115 air cooler, and then we have the Asus TUF Gaming 850 watt ATX 3.0 PSU. And that's what we have running inside this build. Again, it's all about simplicity, easy to put together, and you've seen it from soup to nuts today. Let's pop this in and get this, give this a go. Look at that temp, it's 66, 70, still air-cooled, beautiful temperature there. So like, again, don't need to add any additional fans or anything like that. Let's put this on ray tracing. Let's put it on overdrive. We'll put DLSS on. We're gonna run it at balanced. We're gonna run it with ray reconstruction, and then we'll see. This is like full blown, and then 1440p, full screen. And then we'll give it the best it can. We're really pushing the 1440p. And again, this build is gonna be great. I guess the way to think of Nvidia is like the good all around. It can do single player, excellent, and then it's also great at multiplayer as well. And so what you guys are gonna see here is these are where Nvidia GPUs really shine, at highly polished, over the top, single player graphical experiences like Cyberpunk. And we're running 1440p, no frame generation, ray tracing on with path tracing and ray reconstruction, hitting 70 frames per second. And look at those temps, 73 on our 14.7, 57, 55 on our Super FE. And this is an air-cooled 14700K. So again, you're looking at this build will not only, you could do productivity air-cooled, you could do gaming air-cooled, gaming streaming. This is a great streaming / gaming rig for content creators who just want a no-frills rig and really want to build a PC for them by themselves. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to do, is just make it really easy for somebody to follow along with. There you go right there, 81 frames per second. And then if you just wanted it, let's just put it down, put it on Ray Tracing Ultra. This is Ray Tracing Ultra, so this is not over the top. This is just regular old Cyberpunk 2077 without path tracing. So this is what AMD would be capable of running. Not at the frame rate you're gonna see here, but still could run this particular setting. There you are, 118, 117 frames per second. So if you wanted that greater than 100 frames per second without using frame generation, which frame generation now, I mean, Nvidia's done some really impressive stuff to bring the overall frame time way down with frame generation. But yeah, beautiful temps. That 14.7 is running beautifully. The 4080 Super is running beautifully. Again, both of them are being fed with lots of air from those performance fans that come with the silent, right, which is nice. And again, also running at good temps. No, we do micro AT. We've done mini IT. We did the Incore 100 Max. We've done Incore 200Ps. We're doing Fractal Terrace here pretty soon, so yeah. Okay, cool. So there is Cyberpunk 2077 and running on this amazing system. Let's check out Starfield and then we'll end it with Call of Duty. Will it run midlife? Dude, nothing runs midlife crisis. Except for crack cocaine, I don't know. I love builds like this. I love it when plans come together, and this is a build that a plan came together. That we tried something and it did better than I thought. Yeah, Star Citizen is gonna, we're getting ready to do a really cool series on ultra-wide gaming, like what is the best gear, what is the best combinations for ultra-wide gaming, both in AMD and Nvidia, and then also a guide on ultra-wide monitors. So obviously Star Citizen will be a part of that. Yeah, that's like 5600 X3D with a 6700 XT is 6700 XT is a great one, Shaquandra. Okay, so we're gonna go here. Let's go to display. We're gonna turn off. Whoa, okay. Go to Ultra. Let's just render it max. And to see how this runs at 1440p, we're going to turn off. We're going to turn on. There we go. So this is just raw, Ultra, without motion blur. Raw. Starfield. Oh, thank you. I'll turn VSync off. There was something I would miss. Thank you, James. Okay, so there we are. This is 100 plus frames per second. And we are in city right now. And this is not a DLSS, this is just raw Starfield with max ultra settings. They've definitely done a lot to help improve the quality of the game. Again, also look at that. Look at the RAM, the VRAM. This is another thing in terms of optimization. We're at sub 8 gigs. And if we did DLSS, which would switch the temperature, we'd probably see some spike in overall GPU memory. So let's sit there, let's say, hey, could we, if you wanted to throw, here we go, we'll go to gameplay. Sorry, display, oops, display. Let's go to DLSS, we'll set it to balanced. And then they're good there. And now wow, we actually, wait, did that work? Yeah, it did, okay. Setting it to balance, no frame generation. It's actually almost better to run it at raw. There we go. This is why it's always good to test. But yeah, there you go. So there's Starfield. Let's check out COD. Yeah, that was weird. Okay, last test of the evening, guys. This is at 2K, Sergeant Nobody. This is it's the 4080 Super could do 4K, no problem. But I targeted this build at 1440p. It's like a hyper 1440p build. This build will last you a long time at 1440p. I actually like Fortnite. It's actually a game I enjoy playing. So it's one of those things that I've thought about putting up before, playing Fortnite. But yeah, there's no reason not to. I actually really like the game. Yes, Maka, I am playing Persona 3 Reloaded. It's my play on my Steam Deck with my X-Real Glasses game. I don't play it. I have played Fortnite with my son. Aaron is more of a Call of Duty player, but he's been getting, and he went to Apex for a little while, and then they played Fortnite for a little while, but now they're back on COD. He's really good at COD. Okay, here we go, guys. Accept. Accept. Acknowledge. Continue. 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 Not now. Restart. Did you guys, so let me ask you, now that you guys have seen almost this full episode, we're about wrapped up here. After this, we're gonna do our giveaways. What did you guys think of this show? What did you think of showing you the bench process, showing you upgrading the BIOS, show you installing Windows, show you like how to do it step by step by step? Did you enjoy this one? Yeah, I read it all, Araxness. I have it memorized. You guys liked it? Did you love all the detail? Okay, good. Well, I mean, that tells me something. So I'll try and see if I can schedule these on like maybe once a month basis and really just kind of create one. It's a nice change of pace. Thanks, Igor. Yeah, they're like, not like every build. We want to see the fun builds too. Okay, so let's go to here. Go to graphics. Go to quality. We're going to change it to basic. Apply. We're going to put it on Fidelity CAS. We're going to change the render resolution. It's got to be 100%. Path tracing off. DLSS off. Frame generation off. And then everything else here is fine. Let's go to display. Reflex is on. VSync and menus off. Custom frame rate unlimited. Everything there is good. Okay, good. Okay, so we're good there. We're just going to wait for this to finish, which is the preloading. Okay. 78, 80, 82. Okay, 89, 93, 97. Okay, here we go, 97. Okay, so let's go to here. Private match, benchmark. See how this runs. Start. And here we go, guys. This is 1440p, fidelity cast at 100%. It should be, I don't know if this is 100% resolution. It was supposed to be. I should have checked that. Because this should not be this high. Yeah, this looks a little bit low. I mean, don't get me wrong, those are nice frames. One person did not enjoy this form. Oh, because the dislike, some person disliked. I thought the render resolution was 100%, but that didn't seem like it. Oh, it's 50. Okay, let's fix that. And that was still great. There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, let's try that one more time. It won't be this high. Not that this screen seems to work anymore, but... There, that seems more reasonable. I'm expecting to be in the 200s, high 200s. And then now, much cleaner looking, but still great speed. Now, if you ran like an AMD card, this would do really well on an AMD card, and especially if you did X3D. Laser 2000, are they really hard to get? Is a 4080 super hard to get? I didn't know it was hard to get. I thought I was under the impression it wasn't. Okay. And there we go, guys. 257 frames per second. So 257 frames per second, those are great numbers. So there we go. Okay. Well, again, guys, just to recap what we built today. So we built a simple build, just making it as easy as it is to build in. This is a Core i7-14700K, MSI MAG Z790 Tomahawk Wi-Fi Max, Nvidia GeForce RTX 4080 Super FE, 3 terabytes of Kingston Fury NVMe drives, Kingston Fury 6000 mega transfer, 32 gigs of DDR5, the Antec Performance 1 Silent, the Corsair A115, A115 air cooler, and then we have the TUF 850 watt gold ATX PSU. And again, today we showed you not only benchmarking, thermals, everything else. I mean, the thermals were great, but we also just showed you how to build it, how to set it up, how to bench test it, how to make sure that the entire process and the whole thing comes through, and then this is the build that you can get. And you saw us do it in just under, just under 2 hours. We got this whole thing built from end to end, and it performs beautifully. You can also change how much you want to spend on it. You could drop down to a 4070 Ti, a 4070 Super. You could drop down to a 7900 XTX, a 7800 XT. You'd have to change some cabling in there, but again, we wanted to give you something that was easy to follow along with, and at the same time had some flexibility. So if you followed this guide and you were like, hey, you know, you have room, you could drop this all the way down to like $1,700 as well. And even throwing in a 14.6 if you wanted to. Somebody wanted to know a dad joke. So we got a dad joke. So here we go, dad joke time.
Now, another Robeytech dad joke phone out.
Okay, we're gonna start the giveaway for the two $25 Newegg gift cards. Exclamation point community. Starting that giveaway right now. Two $25 Newegg gift cards up for grabs. Exclamation point community. So again, you know, just a build that you could, if you wanted to, you could start at the top and basically get that done. Or you could drop or you could start like what we built here, or you have some flexibility to change CPU, to change GPU, and still be able to follow along with the steps very, very easily. Dad joke though, I hated facial hair, but then it grew on me. I hated facial hair, but then it grew on me. Ha ha! There it is, dad joke. Dad joke. And let's quit out of this. And there we go, guys. So that was our build today, which I think came out fantastic. It looks really good, very simple, and easy to follow along. And I hope everybody just enjoyed going through that process today. I really like how this came out. And we will have a video out that'll come out for this, that'll show this like in detail with B-roll and also how it performs in other games as well. So there will be a follow-up video to this for sure as well. So. Okay, 30 seconds, guys. What was the result of the poll? You can no longer enter the raffle, guys. You no longer enter. Congratulations to Blackhawk, me, and Jim the Humanoid. Congratulations, you guys. You are the winners of the two $25 Newegg gift cards. Okay, guys, that is it for me. We are back on Tuesday. We're back on Thursday, for an Intel live show. Now, we are waiting. We're going to be doing I believe Thursday stream is still happening. It's supposed to be a geometric future. I know. Geometric future Model 8. It's called the Cowboy. We're going to be doing an all Noctua build with the Noctua 4080 in it. So it's going to be all Noctua themed. The only thing we're waiting for that may change it is we're waiting for the cables and stuff to show up from Cable Mod. So that it's brown, it's silver with brown and black. So brown and gray, brown and stuff. So anyway, that's currently the plan. That may shift because I'm going to a bachelor party. I know, yes, I'm going to a bachelor party this weekend. So there is for sure Intel Live. We're going to be talking about MSI laptops. Plus, we're going to be checking out. Oh my gosh, Helldiver. So that new game, Helldiver from Sony. So we'll be playing that on Thursday, and then there may still be a stream on Thursday afternoon. I will let you guys know. It just depends on if we get the cables from Cable Mod. So, yeah, the Noctua 4080 is a big card, so that should be a lot of fun. Yes, we have a 7900 XT build, 7800. We have an all AMD build coming up next week inside of the Gamados Neo P1. So that's going to be happening next week. We have a brand new CH360 digital build coming up for their new mini ITX CH360 from Deepcool. We have the BTF from Asus coming up. We have another Fractal Terra build coming up. So we got all sorts of stuff, and then even some new stuff from some new cases as well. So we got a lot still going on. It's still going to be a great time. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Have a great rest of your midweek. Get over hump day, and look for a brand new video on the PA602 tomorrow. And then we will see you guys on Thursday, regardless, for Intel Live at noon Pacific time. That's it for me. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.